Brad Green. I grew up in Buffalo, New York pretty much my whole life. Grew up fly fishing for mostly smallmouth in the creeks of, well, Lake Erie tributaries. Steelhead in the fall and smallmouth in the spring. So that pattern, the Red Eye Leech, is actually a Schultz pattern. It's created by Mike Schultz, and that is meant for dredging, pretty much dredge streamer fishing for smallmouth. So any deeper pockets, any deeper water, faster water is when you want to use that Red Eye Leech. And that fly can work on any setup that you feel like. Most of the time, if I'm streamer fishing, I do just fine with a standard floating line. Intermediates, if you want to get down real deep, you can run that on a Euro nymph rod. I've even scaled down that pattern, taken out the lead eyes, and added a tungsten bead instead of the lead eyes. And in the standard Red Eye Leech, you can do it in whatever color you want. I find the black works well. Olive and brown are some of my favorite colors. I've even tied it in white for steelhead, and I've caught fish doing that too. So, enough chit chat, and tie some up, and I guarantee you're gonna catch fish on them. So I'm just laying down my thread base. For the lead eyes, I like going up to just about halfway on the hook shank. Tie in my lead eyes. I like going diagonal. Couple loose wraps. I like doing 3. And then I like cinching them down. Couple wraps in front, couple in the back, and I just like doing 2 around the actual eye. Good. And I just like doing a little dab super glue. And some on the other side. Then I like get that super glue locked in tight. And then back up to the back of the hook shank. And I like going all the way around the bend. And I like doing just a little bit of flashaboo off the tail. We're going to go with 3 strands and then fold it over itself. Then I like going around the back and back forward. Trim it to length. And then I'm going to take it out of the hook shank for this part. But I'm just going to measure it up. Part the hairs back. Move your thread up just a touch. Take it out.
Are you just impaling the hook through the wrap strip there?
Yep, through the hide. Just like that. Then I'm actually going to tie this upside down. Cinch that into place. Stuck on the super glue. And then I'm just folding that hide back And then I like going over again just to really make sure it's cinched, because you're going to palmer this rabbit strip and it tends to move out of place. I'm going to move my thread up to just a little bit before the lead eyes so I still have room. Then you're just going to fold those hairs back and palmer it forward. And you want it to be in pretty tight. You don't want to expose any of that hide. That helps if you take your bodkin and just kind of pick those as you go. And you could even wet the hairs if you really wanted to. Then I'm just going to do about half a wrap just to make sure that's all locked in. And it's okay if you get some of the hairs when you wrap it. Give that a cut. I'm going to go 2 strands, and this is speckled copper. I'm just going to go 2 strands on each side, folded over itself. Trim those to length, and when I trim it, I like it shorter than the ones we did on the tail section. Just a little bit shorter. And then just personal preference, I like building a teeny tiny little taper in there. Doesn't matter, I just like the way it looks. And then you're going to take your red flashaboo for your accent. It can be bleeding, it just gives it some more contrast. And I'm only going to do 1 on each side. And then I like doing these just a little bit longer than the copper, not by much. Now you're going to take a mallard flank. This one's already prepped. I just trimmed off the accent. So I had this one prepared already, this mallard flank. That's what it looks like beforehand. You just want to trim off all that. And you're going to tie this in. I like doing it tip first. And then a little trick I have to really cinch this down is I like folding that tip back and then laying down my thread actually on the tip. That way it really cinches it down. Just lay a little more thread. Good. I'm going to palmer that up. Just about 1 full wrap. And then about half. Doesn't have to be super pretty. stem. And I like getting all these in there. And all this is going to get covered up in a second. Now I'm going to make a dubbing loop. Fairly long dubbing loop. And you're going to bring that up past the lead eyes. Take my dubbing wax. Just need a little dab. Take your dubbing spinner. Hold that there. So this part, we're going to take the rabbit off the actual hide. And you can do this with your fingers. It works just fine, but if you want a more consistent trim, you're better off rocking these dubbing clips. And then I take that, pinch a pretty good clump, just like that. And then I take my scissors and trim it as close to the hide as you can. So it looks just like that. And for this, we're going to need a little more than just one clip. This part is the tough part. Alright, so now take the next piece. Probably be good with just two. And now we're just going to clean that up. Yeah, we'll see if that works. Alright, now spin it up. And I like just picking out a little bit. And then I spin it again. And now you're going to palmer this. While folding the hairs back. And then with the lead eyes, you want to go underneath first, all the way around, and then back up. Then you're going to palmer in front of the eyes. Probably up one more. Good. Then you're going to kind of part those back. Take your thread and lock it down. And then I even like going in front to really make sure it's locked in. Trim that up. And go all the way up to the eye. And then just clean it up. And before I whip finish, I just like making sure all those hairs are plucked out. And that way the hair is covering all the lead eyes. Couple more little wraps. Wet finisher. Turn that off. And this is Raid Zap Flex. You can use thin too, but I just like using the flex. Don't need much. Take your light. And there it is. The Red Eye Leech.